My writings is to be found everywhere, so that you can share by reading it. But this talk of how to work and why we do what we do and different strategies is a rare opportunity to really engage in a dialogue. So, I give you first a short briefing of my own context. I don't really get what Leonella, how she presented me, but I'm foremost an artist. My background is within choreography. So I've been living as an artist all my life. And as an artist, as choreographer, the development of the marketplace for artists is hardened. It's really tough today to produce, to be successful, to make a career, to earn your money, to make a living. In the field of choreography, there are almost no traditional jobs available. You create your own working opportunities. And most performing artists, that goes for visual artists, that goes for a lot of artists today, even in music, creates their own jobs, their own income by producing pieces of art, selling to be sold on a market. We redefine the market in consequence of our developing strategies as artists. To my experience, art today is becoming more and more political, more and more eagerness among the young generation to find new ways of implementing art in society, to create an active dialogue within different contexts, to find new performative practices, to find new way of creating the narrative, the story. What do we want to communicate today? What is relevant today in our political context, societal context, cultural context? In the late 90s, I've been active as an artist since beginning of 80s, late 70s, working in very different frameworks, different contexts, different countries. I found my own company in Sweden in 85 and I toured the world. I've been actively engaged in producing in 35 countries around, never in Italy. I think it's the only country in Europe where I actually never been working, but that's another story. I was so sick and tired of this, keeping up the production, keeping up the successes, keeping up this, constantly fighting to be on the top and to really have the commission pieces done and I started to insist on time for deepened processes. My need as an artist developed into questions of the art that Peter was addressing this morning. I had just to do research to get further with the burning questions in my life. So I started doing research. The term was not accepted as artistic research in the 90s, and absolutely not outside the university. But still, I insisted on the word because I wanted to have legitimacy on the work as research. So I formed research collective groups, starting doing different kind of projects. I was opposing the university structures. I was among those artists who said no to the universities. Don't hijack art. Don't interfere in my practice, I was really, it's just the be artist that goes to universities. We all heard that story. Today, I'm running a university. I'm the Vice Chancellor of the University of Dance and Circus. It's one of the smallest universities in Sweden. We house 200 students, from bachelor to PhD. We have a lot of senior research produced, and we work on artistic foundation. We have students from 18 nations. It's a very international environment. And we provide with bachelor programs that are pretty advanced because to us students come with pre-educations. So in a 3-year bachelor, you deepen your artistic knowledge and prepare yourself to go out there and conquer the world with your art. To do so, you have to learn how to critically reflect on your art practice, how to communicate your vision, your ideas, how to identify the question of methodology within the artistic process. So we train our bachelor students to do so. We train them into a new culture of peers, because it wasn't like that before. My generation was formed in a tradition of a very romantic idea about the artist. Do your artwork, be the best, don't tell anyone about your ideas because they could take them from you. Be protective, you're a solitarian, all that. Today, the situation is very, very different. Today, the young artists looking for one another, inviting one another, sharing, trying to identify new modes of producing, new modes of collaborating, new modes of getting into deepened processes, and new modes of engaging in society. So what can a university do? We have taken this approach, and we really provide with individual supervising in a collective process of making art for stage or for dance and circus. Then they go out. For our master programs, the one we accept on a master program are the one who has been out there working for a while, so they have experiences that they want to get deeper with. They have identified questions of eagerness. So they are about between 30 and 40 of age. They go a master. They are research preparatory in the sense that they go further with identifying methodologies and theories developed within the art practice itself. And we invite artists with no limitations. They apply with projects or get into specific courses. Today we have visual artists, we have architects, we have circus, we have dance, we have a variety of backgrounds in the master level. Because skills, they are provided even before the bachelor, and during bachelor you really increase skills. We are working like music, you have to know your instrument, right? But on master level you are so well established that you can go further with a research perspective, and they do so. And then again out. Most of them, back out in profession, deepen their careers and go for it. Our doctorates are experienced artists that want to train in research. They are looking for a community of other artists that share this need of deepened processes and training in ways of how to develop a structure around the research perspective. And they do so by interacting, by taking part in one another's practices and sharing in seminars and so forth. I should also say that we are very, very privileged. Later on I say why, but we are privileged. We have free educations and we provide our doctorates with fundings. So they are well paid. Then for 4 years you have a salary that is quite a good one, and you have fundings for your research. Yeah, I told you, we're privileged. It differs. That means that you for 4 years can really dig into your research, and you get supervised by supervisors that you could pick from other countries or from your practice, and primarily one from the university. We invite professors on artistic meritation. So to become a professor at our university, you don't have to have a PhD or a doctorate or any. You qualify through your art practice. And it's defined. We have criteria. We have a very well-developed structure for how to identify the qualifications needed for professorship or for lecture and so forth on artistic meritation. So it's identified. It's not just, I think you're the best, come on. We really go for it. And each professor are scrutinized by at least 3 peers to see if the criteria are in place and if he or she would be good for this position. And those are then doing research or teaching or supervising, or the 3 together. Differs between individuals. We invite professors just for research, so you have research time. As senior researchers, we think senior researchers are absolutely necessary to provide with research education, the 3rd level strategy. So senior researchers should be there. To fund the research that these senior researchers, these very advanced artists, would like to do, we have to go external. The university does not have that amount of money. Even if we are privileged, we have to have external fundings. In Sweden, we have a research council that has the task to also allocate resources to artists. It's in the Swedish law, the higher law that regulate higher education and research, that art and science are equal entities. I wouldn't say that it's really in place, but it's there. And if the minister fail and just talk on science in his national big speeches, then we can also say, okay, what about art? Oh yes, I say, we have then artistic research is so we can remind him, because it's in the law. You can't avoid it. So our advanced artist professors apply for fundings from the Research Council, from other funds, as well as from the European Commission's provided funds for artists. There are funds. So this is a brief structure. 37 universities in Sweden altogether. Universities and university colleges, what Peter addresses, högskola. In our culture, we don't differ between högskola and universities. We all do research. So it's not just a privilege for the universities. We all do research. And we are all funded to do research. Among these 37, 12 are providing with art education on at least master level. And some years ago, we funded a national research school in the arts to provide with a common platform, national platform, to train artists as researchers. And this was funded by the Research Council through allocated resources from the government. It has been now running for 3 years. I'm in the board. We have 24 doctorates registered in the National Research School in the Arts, funded doctorates. In addition to that, we have some others that follows the programs but are not registered in the specific school. Okay, so how did we get there? It was not in place when I started with doing research. In the late 90s, we have had resources since 1978 allocated for artistic research in Sweden at all universities who provide with artistic education. It was called development work, artistic development work, for many years because it was not recognized in the term research. But we kept on insisting because we took a decision that we want to be recognized. We like to have a recognition of art as knowledge on the same level as other field of knowledges. So we chose to pick the vocabulary and keep fighting. And we succeeded. So the term was changed. Today it's in all regulated system but known as artistic research. In the 90s we increased our efforts, and in the beginning of 2000 we started more organized work with artistic research education. And in 2007 we were a group of artists invited by the ministry. We were 4 of us invited by the ministry to, as they told us, help us to understand what you're after. Please help us, because we have not the knowledge. We worked for almost 2 years writing forward text on research, artistic research, what we were after, how we would like to build a strategy for the full progression, first, second and third cycle education, how we would like to have the fundings of the research, why, how and why, constantly on every question, how and why, and the government took our suggestions and put forward it in the Higher Education Act, put forward in the research bill, put it forward in the education bill. And suddenly in 2010 we were there with a new exam. So we have a PhD on artistic meditation, artistic foundation. So we have full progression. We don't have to adopt any scientific methodologies or strategies from the science. We could develop from the field and art practice itself. Bachelor, master and PhD. It's in place, full progression. And we have this kind of fundings. And now we are in a process. We were not satisfied. We kept on working. We formed a national research school in the arts, and we strengthened our networks. Now we are also in a process where we create a new arts university to focus and create a platform, a national platform for artistic research in the arts, plural, arts. So we don't make any subject borders, It's not research in music, opera, dance, circus, whatever. We invite artistically, over transdisciplinary. Still very focused research, but we plan to work creating a platform that will attract artists that are really eager to make a difference. So we receive new fundings. This sounds like a fairy tale, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. We received new fundings this fall, a substantial amount of money, to create this art university and to fund researchers. So we will, in a year or two, it might take us 3, then we will have a platform where we can finance quite a number of senior researchers, 25 doctorates and some postdocs. And we're really looking forward, we're working hard to that. But all this process, as I said this morning, has been made possible by the engagement of the artists. We have asked for it ourselves. We have said we are willing to take the responsibility. We know that we can do this. If we are provided with the resources and the organizational format that will give the recognition to our field, we can do it. So parallel with this, I work in the board of Society for Artistic Research, SAR. I work in the board of Lilja, European League of Institutes in the Arts, and of PEAK, this funding program for artistic research in Austria. And all this networking is absolutely important. I wouldn't have managed all through these years of fighting in Sweden without these networks behind. And we learn from one another, even if we work from totally different culture contexts, if we work from totally different political situations, financial situations, whatever. We still learn from one another's experiences. And that's the beneficiary of networks. So I really congratulate you to this initiative with Rami, that it will make a difference if you just find a way of really engaging together. I'm also quite happy of the development. This could be misunderstood, actually, but it's the same. I know the situation in Europe. I mean, the financial crisis and so forth. But if we don't talk on crisis, if we shift the vocabulary and we talk not on problems but on possibilities, we have to shift the vocabulary and put forward what we really can do to make a difference through what we actually are doing, art. So I also engage in political activism when it comes to culture policies. And last year I was in something called Team Culture Europe. We were 12 artists appointed by the Euro Commission to have this discussion on the importance of the role of the arts in a time of crisis, and put forward our ideas from our different perspectives, from different countries, from different culture foundations. What do we actually think that we can do? What makes a difference? How can we contribute to create faith when people lack hope? What does it mean today to be active in a European context? So this is my foundation, and I'm more than willing to get into discussion about techniques to convince people. This political stuff that you are facing, how good do you get the politicians engaged in a question that they don't want to even touch? How do you get people to believe in something that they really don't want even to think about? You know? So networking is crucial, I would say. But what do you think I should say now? Yeah, there was one more thing from this morning since I've now left my lecture. I think one of the major things to consider is the two angles: education, growing up, being educated, being part of strategies that in learning processes, and from the other side, the most experienced people some of you are among these people that now have lived your life for a long time within your art, and you have gained a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience, and you should engage. We come from two parts into the university, the framework of the university. So what is a university today? What would we like a university to be today? What's in it for the artist? That's my main question. Every day I question myself, what's in it for the artist? Is this relevant? I personally see my work as a vice-chancellor to improve and to develop the university to be also a roof for the professional artist, to have this very strong interaction between the profession, the education, the research. Without that, no success.
Sì, ringrazio tantissimo Eva, proprio perché credo sia importante per noi poterci confrontare con chi si è già tirato sulle maniche e ci si è messo su questa questione difficile, nel senso che è vero, loro hanno una posizione, ho sentito spesso privilegio, posizione privilegiata. È vero, la Scandinavia ha una situazione storica, politica molto diversa, civile, diversa dalla nostra. Però loro l'hanno anche stimolata, cioè arrivano a un risultato oggi dopo anni e anni di barricate, propaganda, impegno, cioè non è difficile capire che parte ha nella tua vita personale questo impegno e questa dedizione alla questione della ricerca artistica, insomma, quindi noi dobbiamo anche un po' mettere in moto questo tipo, perché intorno a me non vedo proprio appunto né dibattito né fermento. Ecco, questo io sono stata quest'inverno in Svezia in occasione di una conferenza importante, insomma, e veramente sono tornata a casa con questa impressione di c'è un fermento, è una cosa che si sente con la pelle, non è solo l'organizzazione di eventi che stanno bene, insomma, così ben nominati, ma è una dimensione culturale completamente diversa, che però è stata costruita nel tempo. Ecco, questo volevo dire. Costruita tra l'altro come non da soli. Queste persone che lavorano all'estero, io ho appunto ricevuto questa impressione sia in occasione della conferenza di Roma di Parma che in quella di Lione, si impegnano tantissimo proprio sul fare rete, creare le occasioni di scambio continuo e creare anche dei contenitori che funzionano a diverso titolo, come quelle che lei ha nominato, che lei ve li ha spiegati, ma non sono sicura che tutti voi li conosciate, fortunata nel senso che io ho dovuto leggermeli su internet perché non ne avevo mai sentito parlare prima di occuparmi di ricerca artistica, che sono Lilja, che è l'organismo, e Lilja è l'organismo gemello sostanzialmente di EPARM, cioè un gruppo di lavoro che si occupa, come un'agenzia europea, si occupa di monitorare, collegare, creare delle conferenze internazionali sulla ricerca artistica, non musicale, quindi dedicate alle accademie di belle arti, alle accademie d'arte drammatica, alle accademie di danza. Tra l'altro anche di questo bisognerebbe discutere e lavorare. Due organismi che, proprio perché si trovano ad avere a che fare con istituzioni che hanno nomi diversi, accademie e conservatori, diventano due entità differenti, però per esempio l'Accademia di Danza, l'Accademia d'Arte Drammatica, per vocazione sono collegati al lavoro della musica e del musicista. O forse sarebbe meglio dire che siamo noi, a partire dai conservatori, che per vocazione possiamo molto bene raccordarci con tutte le altre discipline. Cioè la musica è facile collegarla a qualsiasi attività, non solo artistica ma addirittura del quotidiano della gente normale, perché la musica pervade ogni singolo momento della nostra vita, quindi forse sta un po' a partire veramente dalla nostra volontà di fare. L'altro organismo che lei ha citato importantissimo è la SAR, la Society for Artistic Research, che forse poi vi spiegherà meglio Eva se io dico qualcosa di sbagliato, ma anche questo è un organismo autonomo messo in piedi, costituito da professori impegnati nelle accademie di belle arti, ha come sede legale Basilea ma coinvolge professori di danza svedesi, musiciste come Anna Lindahl e quant'altro, e che ha semplicemente dato impulso a dato impulso a una rivista.
SAR is an organization that organizes individual artists, all categories, but also institutions.
Yes.
So it's very rare.
Sì.
Both sides.
Sì, è composita tra professori a titolo personale e anche istituzioni. Veramente hanno fatto un'attività in questi anni interessantissima, soprattutto attraverso la JAR, il Journal of Artistic Research, tantissimo materiale pubblicato. Perché sorridi? Va bene, insomma, insieme all'attività di EPARM e a quella di AEC, tra l'altro questi materiali sono accessibili online, ci si può riferire facilmente a questo background culturale che c'è già avviato e portato avanti assolutamente in maniera integrata attraverso nazioni diverse, oltre che individui di nazioni diverse. Ecco, questo nella mia considerazione personale è molto importante, nel senso che proprio perché in Italia dobbiamo avviare questo processo e un po' c'è un po' così dietro l'angolo il timore che nel momento in cui legalmente dovremo attivare questo fantomatico terzo ciclo all'interno dei conservatori, piuttosto che inventarci un'attività di ricerca molto in fretta, che lo si faccia mettendosi in competizione istituzione contro istituzione. Ecco, per questo dicevo, è anche bene relazionarsi, perché alla fine credo che tutto il mondo e il paese gli stessi problemi li hanno avuti loro, anche se stanno in contesti diversi, anche loro devono fronteggiare il problema di superare la rivalità tra istituzioni singole, tra città e tra paesi, perché questa è soprattutto quello del dottorato, è una cosa che si fa creando un gruppo, una rete. Quindi prima c'è il lavoro della creazione della rete e poi si inizia a discutere di costruire qualche cosa in questo senso.